Hi grade 3s, welcome back for another math lesson. I actually brought somebody to help me today. Move over. So this is Blaine. You've heard me talk about him. This is my husband, Blaine. Say hi to the grade 3s.
Hi grade 3s.
So he was willing to help me today because we are going to do a little sharing. Over the last couple of days, we've been working on division by sharing. And we were just at the store and bought a chocolate bar. So he said he would help me with this video because it involved chocolate.
Oh yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so on your worksheet today, the last question on the page that you're doing today asks you to create a story problem and solve it. So we're going to create one as an example and then solve it. So I'll be showing you how you can set up your story problem. Okay, you ready?
I am definitely ready.
All right, well first we've got to open up our chocolate bar. We got a Hershey's Cookies and Cream. All right, so when we open it up, it looks like this. Okay, so for us to actually share it, I'm going to turn on to our document camera. All right, so we're just breaking up our chocolate bar, and we actually have 12 pieces in this chocolate bar. So we've got quite a few pieces, I think, Blaine.
Okay, great.
Okay, so we're each going to have a plate just to show easily how we are dividing this. Since you can't see us in the view anymore, this is now Blaine, and this is now me. Okay, and we're going to share the way we've been sharing this week. But rather than just do one at a time, I think I'm actually going to do two at a time and see how that works. So 2 for me, 2 for you, 2 for me, 2 for you, 2 for me, and 2 for you. Now, can you count how many you have?
I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Okay, let's see if we're equal. I've got 2, 4, 6. So we were able to share equally. And now we're going to turn that into a story problem. All right, so you may hear some chopping in the background, and that's because Blaine went off to go chop up some stuff for our salad for dinner. So if you're hearing noise, that's what it is. Let's take a look at the last question that I was talking about on your worksheet. Number 5, okay, and that's today's worksheet, which is page 175. Create and solve a sharing story problem about 2 divided by 2. So that's going to be 2 things shared with 2 people or shared into 2 groups. Use counters to model the problem. Sketch your model. Okay, so to help you with this, I am going to turn my story problem about sharing the chocolate bar into a story problem and show you what I would be putting on this worksheet for that one, although my numbers will be different. Okay? So when we were doing something similar with multiplication and you were asked to create a story problem, a lot of people forgot that step and they just showed how they solved it. But it is asking us to create one, so first you need to write your story problem. So I'm going to write the problem with myself and my husband sharing the chocolate. Mrs. Dion and her husband shared. So here's what I have so far in my story problem. Mrs. Dion and her husband shared a chocolate bar that had 12 pieces. If they shared equally, now remember that a story problem needs to end with a question. What would my question be? What is it that will need to be figured out by somebody that reads this problem? Do you know? Yeah. They need to figure out how many pieces of chocolate we each got. So there is my story problem. Let's take a look at what needs to be in this problem. Okay, the first thing is we need to talk about what we're sharing. And so we're sharing a chocolate bar. We need to make sure that our problem includes the people that are sharing or the groups that are being shared into. So in this problem, it's myself and my husband. Okay, so those are my two groups. The thing that we're sharing is chocolate, and we're sharing 12 pieces of chocolate. So we need to make sure we say how many we're starting with. Remember that division starts with the total number. Okay? And then your question asks you to use counters to model the problem. So I'm going to use these 12 counters here. 12. And I'm going to model how we shared them. And so to do that, I'm just going to draw two groups. Actually, I'll probably need to make those bigger. All right, and I'll just share them the way we did, by 2 each. Like that. All right. And so I have my story problem. I've used a model to solve it. And I'm also going to change that into an equation. So we started with 12, and I shared with, which is divide, 2 people, and we each got 6. So there's my division equation, 12 divided by 2 equals 6. But remember, this is a story problem, so I also need to answer in a sentence for my question. How many pieces of chocolate did they each get? They each got 12 pieces of chocolate. I think it was the yellow spelling group where we practice spelling chocolate. Chocolate. And we don't want a bare naked sentence, so make sure you've got a capital and a period, please. Okay, so there are all the parts. You're going to write a story problem, but your story problem is going to be about 2 divided by 2. Make sure you tell who is sharing, or how many people are sharing, what you're sharing, and how many of that thing that you are starting with. Make your model using objects, your equation, and then a sentence answer. Now that seems actually like quite a bit to try and fit in here. So you may want to do this on a separate piece of paper so that you have more room to do all of those parts. All right, so I hope this helped. So thank you for helping me teach the grade 3s about doing a story problem in division by sharing.
It is my pleasure. When it comes to chocolate, I'm there for you guys.
So your reward is you get to eat some chocolate now.
Awesome.
Cheers, grade 3s.
Cheers.